This is my final sign off. After 22 years of serving the citizens of the state of Washington, being asked to leave because I am dirty. Numerous fatalities, injuries. I've worked sick. I've played sick. We've buried lots of friends over these years. I'd like to thank you guys. I'd like to thank the citizens of Yakima County, as well as my fellow officers within the Valley. Without you guys, I wouldn't have been very successful, and you've kept me safe and got me home to my family every night. Thank you for that. Wish I could say more, but this is it. So, State 1034, this is the last time you'll hear me in a state patrol car. And Jay Inslee can kiss my ass.
Do you ever get the feeling with these that we've gone too far with the mandate?
No, I mean, I don't necessarily get that feeling. I mean, I think, as we said on this show several times, it pointed out, mandates, vaccine mandates are not new. Most of us have been vaccinated for various things in our lives. If you went to public school, if you went to private school. So the idea that somehow this vaccine mandate is somehow different than past vaccine mandates. And there are people who, who don't want to get vaccinated. And I think that's your choice. And this gentleman made a choice where he said he didn't want to be vaccinated, and I respect it. He's willing to put away his career because he's standing up for what it is that he believes, and he's willing to take the consequences. But I think whenever you stand up for what you believe in and you're willing to take the consequences, you have my respect. But also you understand that those are consequences. So, I think he did what he thought was right, what was in his best interest, and best of luck to him.
Yeah, but it's just, I mean, it didn't have to be that way. That's the key. It's like, somebody made a decision, leadership made a decision. And he obviously said, Jay Inslee can kiss his ass. That's who he's talking about, the governor of Washington State, that this mandate has been an imposition on his life. And as a result, now he's losing his livelihood.
Well, he's not, again, nobody made him quit. He quit. And that's okay. He knew the consequences of his actions to say, I'm not going to get vaccinated. I'm not going to do this as a public servant. He's going to go. And again, police are first responders. He may have to give somebody mouth-to-mouth resuscitation and, maybe put that person in danger. And Jay Inslee says, if you're going to have to give somebody mouth-to-mouth or CPR and be that close to them, you should be vaccinated.
If you're in a situation you need mouth-to-mouth, I'd run the risk of getting COVID. You know what I mean?
But like I said, I respect. Well, when it's a slip and fall and it's a grandma who's maybe a cancer survivor or something, could put her in the grave, but either way, I respect his decision, and that's the thing, I respect his decision to say, I would rather suffer the consequences than to get this vaccine. And
but the weight of this falls heaviest on like working class people like that dude, Jason. It's like guys who have no options, or very few, much fewer than the people who are in power, for sure. And then they get given an ultimatum that maybe he thinks this violates his conscience. Maybe he's already gotten COVID and decided that I've got the immunity. This is anti-science. We're not doing this. This is a medicine I don't need. And whatever his justification might be, he's been backed against a wall and said, you have to do this or else you lose your livelihood. And meanwhile, Congress has no vaccine mandate. Like there's no vaccine mandate right now for the United States Congress.
Yeah. I think that's wrong.
I
think that's totally wrong.
Our leaders are not subjected to any of the same standards.
I'm with you on that. I think, Congress, if we're going to demand that the American people have a vaccine mandate, Congress should certainly, have a vaccine mandate. There's no question about that. But I also think if you're going to protest anything, this is something that I've learned from the civil rights tradition. If you're going to protest anything, you have to understand the consequences and be willing to accept them.
But in the civil rights tradition, the hope was that you would break an unjust system by falling prey to the consequences of those actions.
Sure. I don't think this is unjust, but he certainly does. And I think he's willing to accept the consequences of his actions. And so he's going to quit his job. And again, nobody fired him. He quit.
Well, I'll tell you what, that guy does seem like a patriot. I got to be honest, in terms of just loving his community.